day, oh. Hunger day, oh. It be like say then they use us play games, hunger games. I dey fear, I don't want mention names. You will want use 1.5 billion, build borehole will be 5 million. You where they chop our money, oh. Private jets with the money, oh.
Too much stubbornness, too much for this country. But before you eat, you go suffer. The stubbornness is too much. Please, make your find solution for this thief. It's too much. Gary 2,000 naira. Since when my father bought me, I've not.
Oh, come on. As boy, no shit law. Hippa, Food no day for boys to focus. Price no day, even carry cost. Skin trouser don't turn to bogus. Hunger go kill person for Lagos. I dey slim them talks in a gym. It's too hard for this kind regime. All Saturday no food to treat them. Hunger go kill person for Lagos. Jehovah, when will this pain be over? I dey pray hard and I dey pay tight too. Hunger still dey owe me tight. Hunger day, oh. Hunger day, oh. It be like say then they use us play games, hunger games. I dey fear, I don't want mention names. You will want use 1.5 billion, build borehole will be 5 million. You where they chop our money, oh. Private jets with the money, oh.
But before you eat, you go suffer.
Come on. As boy, no shit law. Hippa. Food no day for boys to focus. Price no day, even carry cost. Skin trouser don't turn to bogus. Hunger go kill person for Lagos. I dey slim them talks in a gym. It's too hard for this kind regime. All Saturday no food to treat them. Hunger go kill person for Lagos. Jehovah, when will this pain be over? I dey pray hard and I dey pay tight too. Hunger still dey owe me tight. Hunger day, oh. Hunger day, oh.
To the impact side. But thank you all so far for your journey. And today we'll be having a very interesting discussion about our country, Nigeria. How we say might not be with us.
I can hardly hear you, Rachel.
Let me reset my phone. Can you hear me?
Emmanuel, are we live? I want to believe we are live now. We're
We are
still
live.
waiting for our guests.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Uh,
This is yes, sir. But I'm ready for you to do the introduction before we begin now.
Yes, I
can we
usually.
can we start the introduction, Rachel? Can you, because I cannot even see the guest, but Rachel can
Please,
start the introduction of our guest right immediately, please.
All right, sir. Good day, everyone. You're welcome to All Impact for the library. We thank you all for your patience. And today we will be discussing about our country, Nigeria. Let's discuss Nigeria. Just today, very interesting person. Our guest for today is a very interesting man. He is a lawyer and an head attorney at Librous Chambers. He's a public affairs analyst with a passion for advocacy, discussion around constitutional matters, policy, politics, socioeconomic, human rights, development in the legal system. His name is Librous. He will be talking in details. We'll be asking questions as people in Nigeria will be asking and will have to from his own point of view. Join me, welcome, Barrister Oshoma. You're welcome, Mr. Librous.
We cannot see the video of Barrister Librous Oshoma. Our technical team was the. We can't hear him, neither can we see him. Barrister, are you online? While we are waiting for Barrister Oshoma to join us on this program today, we can be talking about the recent happening at at the at the Lagos House of Assembly by the removal of the Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. I saw a clip yesterday saying that you cannot remove the speaker, but you cannot impeach the speaker rather, but you can remove him. I want us to, while we are waiting for Barrister Librous Oshoma, can we please play the video that of Right Honorable Basa while we are working on Barrister Oshoma to join us. Barrister, we are waiting for you as you join us on Impact 45 this evening. Can we play the video, please?
Colleagues in the Lagos State House of Assembly, they are my brothers, they are my sisters, they are my colleagues. I respect them, and I will continue to do that because I spent very most important of my life in that house. Yeah. Anywhere you work for 20-something years, you cannot disregard and you cannot take for granted. Yeah. I believe in removal. There is no impeachment in the assembly. You cannot impeach speaker. Probably there's a mistake.
Technical team, can we please have our video back up? And please help our guest to come up, please. The technical team.
only remove runners, please. You can only remove the speaker. And if you are going to remove, you must ensure you follow the rules of the I am not afraid of
The barrister in. Do we have the barrister? Barrister is waiting. He's waiting to be allowed in, please. Allow the barrister to come in, please. Have we seen that video?
It didn't finish playing.
So while we are waiting for barrister, I just want us to discuss this video. Were you able to watch the video, Rachel?
I was able to watch it to an extent. I think the video stopped where he was talking about the fact that they have to follow rules if they are even going to move a speaker from his position. That cannot be.
These are some of the questions we should be asking the barrister Librous Oshoma, but unfortunately, I don't know what's really happening. He's online, but we could not connect with him, and we could not even allow, when he came in, we could not hear him, neither can we even see his video. Barrister, if you can hear us, please try to log in again so we can have you on the show.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Now you can't come out this thing. Stop calling me now.
Barrister, are you online now?
Yes, I am. I am online.
Okay. Thank God that you're welcome. Rachel, Barrister is online, so we are glad that the network is but we are happy to have you online. Rachel, can you continue, please?
You're welcome, Barrister.
Yeah, thank you.
We've been waiting.
I have been here with you. It is your technical people. I've been here all along.
Oh, we're so sorry about that. We're glad to be here. And not to time.
Your audio is not too audible, but
yes, the audio is not that good. Please, can you work on audio while I welcome? But Barrister, can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can hear Pastor very well, loud and clear.
You are welcome to Impact 45. I want us to go. You don't need so much introduction when it comes to advocacy and when it comes to public affairs, analyzing and human rights advocate in Nigeria. I want to ask you very fundamental question. What has been the changes from the previous administration from this current administration? What are those changes you have observed as a Nigeria from the last administration to this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? What are the differences that I want you to comment on, please?
Yes, but before I quickly answer your question, I will maybe I will come to that one later on the issue of removal of the Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, Obasa, removal or impeachment. But I will come to that one later. There is basically no special procedure laid down for the removal of Speaker. It is not an impeachment procedure. It is a resolution, and Section 92, subsection 2, paragraph C, clearly spells out that once the members of the State House of Assembly resolve by a resolution, two-thirds majority of the members resolve by a resolution that the speaker should be removed, he stands removed. So there is no, if the media decides to say the speaker has been impeached or the speaker has been kicked out, it is not a ground for saying that the procedure was not properly followed. From all available legal authority, jurisprudence, and case law, and the Constitution, the procedure for removing a speaker were followed. I think Mr. Speaker, former Speaker Obasa, was just trying to appeal to the sentiment of some persons. But that said, the difference between this administration and the previous one is, despite the fact that there is visible hunger and the challenges, but the difference is that unlike the previous one where you have had a president that was never aware of anything, now you have a president who seemingly seems to be aware, but the fact remains that it is almost like we are aware of your suffering, but while we enjoy, you continue to suffer and see if the country will be better. That's why a lot of people are complaining. The policies of this administration has breeded, untold hardship, which some economists have praised, even though they are economic policies for the West and not for developing nations. But if only the government could feel the pang or the pain of the average Nigerian, then Nigerian would readily, want to bear the consequences of such policies. But unfortunately, while the government is living ostentatious lifestyle, they are asking the people to tighten their belts. But the difference is that you see both are old, but one seems to be more aware than the previous one. Buhari was never aware of anything. It was like people were just running the government while he was there. But in this case, you still have Kaba, but Tinubu seems to be aware and it seems to be deliberate. But you can say, government policies and lifestyle still remains the same. That's basically what my observation.
Thank you, and I appreciate the way. I want to ask again, because sometimes a couple of months ago, some of the IMF spokespersons said all these policies are for the betterment of Nigeria, and it's earlier the better we take and tighten our belt rather than living a life that is not real. So what do you think about the IMF supporting most of these government policy that are putting something on people? Why he is asking us to wait? What do you think? Do you think IMF doesn't know what they are saying?
IMF, let me start by asking you, let me start by telling you, before the administration of Trump, the American government will tell you human rights. Some governments in Africa have been removed for allegedly abusing human rights. But today, Trump is arresting people and deporting them. Is that not an abuse of their human rights? But all of the media in America today are similarly quiet about it. Nobody's talking about those abuse. Now, they have told you that to build economic policies, you need to open your business borders so that trade can flourish. But the same people that propounded those economic theories today are telling you that they are going to close their borders to China, they are going to increase tariff on business to Canada, and nobody's talking. Those are the same people that will come to Africa and tell you that remove subsidies. Once you remove subsidies, that in 15 years, that the economy will pick up. But they forget, also, if you go back to Ronald Reagan's statement as president of America, he said that taxes do not create countries. These are the same people. So in one breath, their leaders says taxing people do not make countries. But the economists will tell you, tax your people to make your country. Is that not, blowing hot and cold from the same mouth? So when you embrace IMF principles and policies and economic policies, they tell you it is good because that is what they want you to do. So when you borrow from them, they dictate your economic principles. But unfortunately, the IMF economist only knows the hotels that dot the landscape in the cities of Nigeria and Africa. They do not know the villages and the hardship and the poverty that is spread across the villages from Erumugogware to Arugungu to the poor woman in Ikale, you know. So these policies and principles telling you that, yes, it is going to make Nigeria better. Nigeria was far better in the 70s. Today we praise Rwanda. We praise Rwanda. Is Rwanda not subsidizing education for its people? Nigeria was in that stage in 1974, 75, 76, 77, when we built the National Theatre, when we built our national airport, and we had the Nigerian Airways, when we subsidized fare for our citizens, when we subsidized agriculture, when we built Nigerian shipping lines, when we built the steel industries in Ajakuta Steel, we built Delta Steel, we built Oshogbo Rolling Mill, we built Katsina Rolling Mill, we built Jos Rolling Mill. We were subsidizing at that time. Were we not growing? Yes, we were growing. They say steel is the bedrock of any nation. But today that we say, no, don't subsidize, where are we with those same industries? Where are they today? Today, the same government that tells you don't subsidize, they are sharing palliative. What is palliative? Palliative are measures to cushion the effect of hardship. Is that not subsidy in one way or the other? So indirectly, they tell you, remove subsidy. And when you remove subsidy, there'll be more money for government to work. But this same more money that is in the hand of the pocket of the government. Also, it was in those days that we had the assembly plants like PAN. But today we buy cars that we do not produce. Because when we remove subsidies, we have enough money to buy these cars that are manufactured in the countries that the IMF are coming from. So go and check all the countries that the IMF have advised. They are all falling into poverty today. Look at Brazil and look at Venezuela and all of that. They tell you it is because of subsidy. No, it is not because of subsidy. It is lack of proper management of available resources by the leaders that leads to poverty. Imagine Rwanda. Nobody's talking about, oh, Rwanda don't subsidize. In Rwanda, they don't have private education. They have public education. And in Africa, their health distribution network is one of the best in Africa. It is being subsidized. But why is the IMF not complaining about that? What we have is a situation where you have a bogus country like Nigeria being run from one spot until they say united we stand, divided we fall. But in the case of Nigeria, divided we stand and united will continue to fall.
Thank you, Barrister. One of the arguments from the government perspective is that the subsidy on PMS, for instance, is going to the wrong hand, and subsidy on fertilizer and other items is not being adequately used. That this subsidy can be better managed by the government. Do you believe that?
Yeah, Pastor. I want to ask you now. The essence of government is the security and welfare of the people. And government says, oh, you see, let me give you an example with your house. You produce yam, you farm yam, you produce it, but your children go to buy pounded yam outside. And then you say, oh, you see, I can't produce pounded yam for you. But instead of you to subsidize the pounded yam that they are buying, you say, well, because when I bring pounded yam, it goes into wrong hands. So you have to pay more for it. The responsibility of government is to eradicate corruption. The responsibility of government is the welfare of the people. And once government has failed in that responsibility, government says, we have failed in ensuring that the subsidy gets to the right people. So because we have failed, bear the consequences. That's what government is telling us, and we just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And like I said, if only everybody is feeling the pain, government says we cannot subsidize, but the people are subsidizing government lifestyle. In America, in America, in the White House, the first family pay to feed their visitors. But here, people go to our Aso Rock, they eat yafu. They go to government house, they eat and they collect thanks for coming. So we buy vehicles, we buy agbada for them, we buy babariga for them. We completely subsidize the lifestyle of our leaders. Look at the handover of government in America. You didn't hear that they are renovating the house, but they do. It took them 6 hours to move out the former president and then move in the new one. And everything is back to normal. But here, they will first renovate, then they will buy 600 vehicles, brand new, none is produced here for our assemblies of non-nationals, I call them. And you call them National Assembly members, brand new vehicles. And so that is why everybody wants to get to that place, including those people that have been there. Imagine somebody that has spent 5 terms. So every 4 years, he collects a brand new vehicle, 150 million, 300 and something million. And then, meanwhile, some of them are former governors collecting pension, millions are spent on them. That is subsidy for a political office holder. But all of this money can be spent to provide infrastructure for the average man. And by the time you provide infrastructure, you will not need to pay subsidies. Imagine if our refineries are working. Would you need to be subsidizing PMS? You're subsidizing it because you take it.
Barrister. They said 2 of our refineries are working already.
I don't know.
That's what
when a refinery is working.
Port Harcourt refinery.
When a refinery is working, you don't need to do boju with it. When a refinery is working and the FCC of the refinery is actually cracking crude, people will see it. Trucks will go there to load. You don't need to announce it. People, when Dangote said his refinery is working and trucks are loading, you see them pulling up. How many filling stations are buying PMS from Port Harcourt refinery? That's the question I will ask. So government does not need to announce to us that they are working. Or if Warri and Port Harcourt, naturally you will see the price. It will affect the price. It will go down. But when the refineries are working and we are still heavily importing, then there is a challenge. How can a refinery be working and we are not able to produce for local, we're not able to refine for local consumption? Even, let's say we refine small one for local consumption. So these are the challenges. That's why people no longer believe government. Let me also give you an instance. Kaduna Refinery, for example, if Kaduna Refinery is working today and the pipe that is to carry crude to Kaduna Refinery is corroded and some of them are destroyed, so the refinery will be working and at the end of the day, there is no raw material to produce in that refinery. So what happened to the AKK gas project that have been under construction that we are promised that the Chinese government is going to pump in money to? So what I am basically saying is that most of this money we spend on government overhead, we would have put it in, critical sector and infrastructure, and then you don't need to subsidize. America, they're telling you not to subsidize your PMS. They subsidize agriculture. That is why farmers in America are the biggest, some of the richest men, because government subsidizes agriculture. There must be food. But here, we have insecurity, and yet nobody's subsidizing agriculture. CBN will tell you that they're giving loan to farmer, rice farmer, and then they build cages, and then load rice pyramid in cages, and do photo ops in Abuja. And yet there is so much insecurity, despite the arable land. Nobody's investing in farming. Rather, we invest in an election. So those are the challenges. And until we look back inward, Pastor, I say it with all sense of modesty. Iju Water Works in Lagos was built in 1910. So Iju, Lagos, as far back as 1910, had pipe-borne water. But today in your house, you have overhead tank. In 1883, Lagos had street lights. 1883. But today, street lights are not working in Lagos. These are public infrastructure. So are we progressing or retrogressing? These are the basic questions. So my own is not to complain here. My own is to take the message back to the young Nigerians of today. The way we complain about the leaders of yesterday is the same way those coming after us will complain about us, that we have failed them. So what do we need to do? Like I always say in my program, I will therefore advocate that Nigeria is what we have made of it. Nigeria can only change if we decide to change it. And we have elected to practice democracy. Democracy is not a 100-meter dash, but a marathon. So if we say that today we want to practice democracy, mind you, what do you call it? Power is not served a la carte. So those people who are holding power today will frustrate you. But by the time you allow them frustrate you, they kick you out. But when you see that frustration, instead of seeing it as a stumbling block, see it as a stepping stone to go back and re-energize and say, next time we are going to beat them in their own game, then that is the only way we'll be able to take Nigeria back. But if after election we all go back to sit down, we say INEC will always rig. It is human beings that are in INEC. It is our brothers and sisters that are working there. We say INEC will always rig. Police will always rig the election. Are they not our people? So these are the challenges. We are so laid back that we surrender our destiny in the hands of those people that we criticize every day. Some persons will see you and say, oh, no, don't talk so that you will not be arrested. We no one die. Papa dey for house, mama dey for house. I get one child, you know. But because you can always call pastor and say, Pastor, urgent 2K, pastor will give you. Librous, urgent 2K, he will give you. I can't pay my picking school fees, he will pay for you. But the day nobody can do all of these things for you, you will take your destiny in your hands.
Thank you, Barrister, for that complete response to that. I want to ask you, the youth of this country want to ask you now, what do we need to do as a nation to ensure the right people get to the place of leadership and authority in this? In just few words, what do we need to do?
Reorientation. First and foremost, we need reorientation. We need to have an attitudinal change. And then we need to believe. In Christendom, they'll tell you believe is a key word. You believe that you can do it. That I am strong through Jesus Christ that strengthened me. If you also believe that, look, politics is a game of numbers. If anybody had told you that in Lagos State, APC will be defeated for a national election, would you have believed? But they are telling you, no, they allowed it. No! If election, they already rig election, they will not campaign. If your vote do not count, nobody will buy it. Why do they buy votes? Because they know it counts. So it is not always going to be like that. The only way you can change it is for the youth not to be divided. Now we say, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. We should agree that our tongue and tribe differs, but we should stand in brotherhood. The hunger in Arugungu is not different from the hunger in Ekakpamre. It's not different with the hunger in Alemosho. Hunger does not know tribe, it does not know religion. So if we allow it to bring us together and insist that we are going to push until something happens, we will be able to change government. But the problem we have is that even those amongst us that believe that they want to get there, when they get there, they will tell you do not understand. Pastor, on every last Friday of the month, you see how people troop to camp. First Saturday of the month, you see people troop to other camps. Imagine those numbers coming out and queuing behind a candidate saying, whether come rain or shine, we will not allow politics to divide us. But that candidate also must be ready, not just sell rhetorics, but to sell manifestos that are doable. So power belongs to the people, but we do not know the powers that we have. That's the challenge that is facing the youth of this country. And that's the challenge that is facing the frustrated citizens like you and I.
But so far, so thank you, Barrister. But so far, so good. The youth has not shown that they are better off than even the people who are ruling us presently. The youth, they've not shown any capacity to manage the country better, with the example of some of the youth that are in position of authority right now.
When we say the youth, will make it look generic, like everybody is bad. There are some that are still very good, it's just that they don't have the opportunity. Why there are some persons, the bad one, they will highlight the bad ones and de-emphasize the good one. There are still some good persons. The only thing is for us to identify those good persons, and then once we identify with them, we key into their programs, and then we push, we go with it. We should not allow tongue or tribe to divide us. That's just the challenge. You have a lot of young people who are derailed. You have so many who will rather do skits than be interested in who govern them, because they do not understand. That's why I said reorientation. They do not understand the import of being in government. Let me tell you, Pastor, you cannot be a pastor except government says you are a pastor.
Yeah.
That is why government, even the church, they will give you certificates of incorporation. You are not educated except government says you are educated. They create school. They say go to school. So your mother, your aged mother in the village who didn't go to school but has wisdom, you will say she's uneducated, because you have certificate. She does not have certificate. Then you can't even run a business except government say, yes, this is a business, we recognize it. You can't even have a name. They'll say, oh, you can't travel. You can't move from point A to point B. You can't drive, because government will give you a license to recognize that you can drive. But in all of this, the people that will determine these decisions, whether you can drive, whether they're a human being, whether you can run a church, we leave it in the hands of anyhow person. These are the people that run our everyday life. So once we understand politics from that realm, we will all be involved. That somebody can just sit down today and say, I don't like your face. You call the police and say, go and seal that church. Will not be running a casket because he's a local government chairman, he's a governor, he's a senator, he has the power. But if he knows that when election comes, he's going to run back to us, he won't do it. That is why during election, you see politicians in churches, in mosque, in Afar, in Oloku worship, everywhere, they'll be answering you, sir, 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 until after the election. After the election, a man that used to answer you, sir, you will be the one calling him my leader, sir, my leader. So that is the irony of our situation.
Wow. I want to ask you in affirmative, is there hope for this country?
Yes, there is massive hope. There's massive hope, and the hope resides here. If a country that had, let me tell you, Gowon got married as head of state of Nigeria. This morning I was listening to former President of America, Barack Obama, and he said something that never think that you don't fit in. Because some of the people you see up there that you thought fit in, actually in real sense, when you get there, you'll be asking yourself, how did they get here? These persons are not educated. He said at every level, even at the G7 level, that's where you sit down with 7 other presidents from world countries. And then when they open their mouth, you hear some persons very intelligent. Then you hear some, you're like, this one, how did he get here? So the moment you believe that you can fit in and you can do it, and we begin to walk in that direction, that we can be better. And then we also see that the essence of living is for the good of the collective and not for the good of the individual. And then we look back and look at ourselves and say, all of this wealth, the people that have accumulated wealth before now, where did they take it to? I can give you examples. How many people remember who some of the governors that were that governed some states in Nigeria from 1999 to 2003? I can bet Not many people today can name like 10. But all of those people, when they were there, you know, the word was at their feet. But today, nobody remembers them. But we still remember the likes of Jakonde. We remember Ajasin. We remember Bruce Ali, because of the legacies they left behind. So once you have that kind of mindset, that it is not in the house that I built, it is not in the cars that I'm driving, but in the impact that I made on people. And we all collectively, a lot of us have that mindset. Public office will no longer become a call to chop, but a call to service. Once we do that, gradually, and there are a lot of Nigerians that are into philanthropy. All they need is to have those people in public office, and you will see a lot of things would gradually, you know, go be shaped up. So there is hope. Look at Lagos, Nigeria. Look at the number of people that came back home this December. That's potential.
Yeah.
All we need now is to key to it. How do we make it a tourism hub? The people, and then do it our own way. Before now, Pastor, you grew up when we listened to Jide Obi, Chris Okotie, Felix Liberty. If they had told you that a time will come when Nigerian music will rule the world, you won't believe. But today, go to America, go to Canada, go to these places, Nigerian music is ruling the airwaves. In the same way, a time will come. Look at our food. There was a time the internet has afforded us the opportunity. We're debating Nigerian food, fufu, pounded yam, amala. Today, Nigerian food, people now learn to speak pidgin English. So gradually, all we now need is gradually we get our politics right, and Nigeria will rule the world because we have the population.
Thank you, Barrister. As a lawyer, if you have the opportunity to shade any part of our constitution for effective voting and INEC configuration, which part of our law or constitution will you change and why?
I will de-emphasize the central government and make the unit stronger. So let people go to the unit and begin to struggle to build from there. I will make the unit, the local government will be the strongest arm of government in Nigeria, while the federal government will be the weakest. So we will build from the bottom and not from the top. That's the only thing. And once you do that, instead of people wanting to go to Abuja, they would rather go to their local government to go and struggle because there will be more money there. Revenue will be generated from the bottom and there will be competition. So, and then because it is small to manage, people will no longer, everybody's eye will be on that. Nobody will want that money to go. But in Nigeria, because it's too big, the central money belongs to nobody. And so once Yoruba man is there, the Yorubas will protect him. Once Hausa man is there, the Hausa man will look the other way and say, oh, my brother can do no wrong. Once Igbo man gets there, it becomes Mamadu. So that's the only thing I will change.
But this present administration has empowered the local government.
No, they have not empowered the local government. What they just simply did was to give you a facade. It's like, you know, paint a picture of, oh, we will give you more money. That's not empowerment. You don't say, teach a man how to fish and not give him fish. Why do you still collect the revenue from the local government and go and share it at the top? Allow the local government to generate it by themselves, instead of collecting it and then go and share it. And you still share it to the state, and then, or you share it to the local government, because the system of local government is not effective. The state still collects it. So that's basically what is happening.
So, Barrister, if you are to assess this present government, this present current administration, on their compliance on rules and regulation and law and order, what would be on the scale? What would be your assessment from the scale of 1 to 10 for this government?
2/10.
Why?
Because nothing has changed. Nothing, absolutely nothing. There's still lawlessness in the land. Government budget, look at the last year's budget. Government 100% achieve recurrent, but capital, what was the achievement? Barely 30%. So we are still feeding We're still subsidizing government expenses. Nothing has changed. You tell the people, the poor that you said they should be allowed to breathe, you still allow them, you're still taxing them the more. We pay more these days. Despite the fact that I pay almost times 4 for electricity, at the end of the day, very soon now they will still take lights. So, and yet, I'm supposed to be on band A. And I pay more for PMS. I pay more for everything. And yet, I'm a local government chairman on my own because I provide water for myself. I provide security for myself. I provide the roads for myself. And yet, I pay more taxes. Nothing basically has changed. It's a continuation until we see government shed weights and then also plow more money into critical sector. Then we'll now say there's a slight departure. But until we do that, nothing really, has changed. Not just the central government, at all level, whether PDP state or APC state, it's all the same thing.
On the final note, Barrister, what would be your advice to people who are interested in 2027? The youth who are listening to you, and you just want to give them your passing word right now, what will that advice be to the youth listening to you this evening?
My passing words, I have a positive mindset about Nigeria. The fact that I criticize Nigeria means I love Nigeria. I want it to be better because I have no other place to call home. And that is why I point out the ills and I point out what can be done in such places. So I still have a positive mind that we will make Nigeria great. I also still have a positive mind that there is so much money in Nigeria that to be made. I am one of those who believe that now here we go make our money. Some of us are training our children abroad. We make the money here to train them abroad. I know that some of us who have children abroad cannot train those children in those schools if we were living abroad. So let's have hope in the system and let's do it right. Any of my friends that is given appointment, what I tell them is, my brother, when you get there, do it so well that we will beat our chest and say, when our friends got there, they did it differently. Don't go and acquire wealth primitively. Truly serve the people. And so for those that are believing in the politicians, it is too early to be manipulative for 2027. Provide the dividends on your manifestos first and foremost. And then for the people, believe that you were frustrated before in the last election, but this time around, you're going to be resolute, sharpened by the fear and pain of that frustration that you're going to do it differently.
Thank you so very much, Barrister Librous Oshoma. You have delivered as always, and I really appreciate your energy and the way you analyze political issues. Thank you once again for coming on Impact 45. Thank you. We appreciate it. Right about now, we have come to the end of today's program, and we are asking you to join us last Sunday in the month of February again, for last Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on this platform. God bless you and have a happy and wonderful week ahead. Make an impact.